Yemi Andrew. It's a cold, rainy morning. Thank God it's Friday. For some people, the rain isn't making your Friday-like. I'm pretty sure as the day continues to unfold, better things await all of us. In the meantime, let's go to our conversation for this morning. Before I start, I'd like to say this is a very sad event that involved the national coordinator of the JTF, who got about, I think it was, I would say second degree or third degree burn, but suffered severe burns during their operations tackling Igbo oil refining, and he's currently in the hospital. It was a shock because I got the information yesterday and then had a video call with him and saw the situation. He was really burnt, face, hands, legs, and is currently in the hospital. The good thing was, I think, a visit from the Commissioner of Police was there, and a couple of other people. It's really sad. We wish him speedy recovery. Know that it's a regular on the Morning Crossfire, and we would endeavor to bring you more details about the situation as soon as we get them. But to our conversation this morning is with a gentleman who is the chairman or president, if you like to say, of the Port Harcourt Logistics Owners Association. His name, Authur Chijuka. So welcome. Good morning.
Good morning.
Is it Authur or Authur?
Authur.
Authur. Because it's spelled sort of like Authur. And I'm like, okay. All right, Authur. Welcome. My name is Ifeemi Andrew. And the reason for this conversation is simple. Let's take our minds back to the past administration when there was a very serious ban on all delivery guys, and the logistics companies were crying out for help because they felt that they were being what's the word? Or their business was being targeted, and it was difficult for them to operate. And the reason given by the state government was some people perpetrate crime using these logistic companies. They transport weapons, transport hard drugs, transport. There's a lot of things. And so for that reason, some sort of profiling was required and all of those. So fast forward till now, there are still people who say we have reports of this. In fact, honestly, my colleague experienced something because she had ordered something that was to be delivered, and in the process of that we had that the person was intercepted and by the police, and while they checked, and then they found some illegal substance inside the box carrying the delivery package of other people. So technically all those people did not get their deliveries done to them. But now is how do you tackle this when people bring packages to be delivered? What is the procedure for logistics companies before you go for delivery?
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Andrew. Firstly, before we get the delivery done, the customer is meant to declare the item she is requesting us to pick up and drop off.
By declare, you mean like
she has to state
it verbally, or you see it by yourself?
Firstly, she do it by text, because most of our orders are gotten through WhatsApp messages or possibly any other platform we use. So when she texts us, possibly we are coming to pick up a clothes.
She or he. So it doesn't look like it's only she's that use deliveries.
Yeah, so she might definitely tell you, okay, you're coming to pick up a dress, you're coming to pick up a cake, you're coming to pick up different items. Now, we first of all have a proof that this is what you asked us to come pick, a cloth. Now, the dispatcher or the rider has been trained, well schooled, that upon pickup, he is to physically examine what he's picking up. If a client refuses him to examine that item, he shouldn't pick it up.
What if it's been wrapped? It's a gift. It's in a box, and I've wrapped it, I've sealed it, and it's supposed to go to somebody. Perhaps it's a surprise. So you're saying the rider comes to pick it up, and when he gets there, we have to unbox everything.
We usually advise them not to wrap before we come. If it will take 10 to 15 minutes for the dispatcher to wait to save us a lot of stress, we would prefer that. But there are some special cases whereby, in terms of possibly cakes and the rest, that we know you can't even examine, you can't put your hand inside. So the customer has to be a full liability if anything should happen along the road.
So do they sign to that? Like if along the road anything happens, customer takes full responsibility for this?
Yes.
Is there some sort of...
Okay. that you bear full responsibility if what you ask us to come pick up is not what we are picking up.
In the time that you've been in this business and as chairman of the association, has there been reports from other logistic companies about, apprehending riders who perhaps along the way involve in transporting illegal items for clients or customers?
Definitely. I can't deny that fact.
And how has it been handled? How is it being handled by the companies when you get these reports?
Most times, I'll cite the last incident we had. The dispatch company was asked to come pick up jewelries. Yeah, and it was all packed up, arranged. Opened the item, he saw some golds and the rest of it. Not knowing underneath the layer, they kept some white substances. So I don't know how the police at my one police station got to notice and opened the jewelry pack, opened under, and they saw the item. Immediately, the rider is arrested, which is normal. Now, and we tend to tell our members, you don't have any right to get to the station. We send the association lawyer at first, and we try to make sure the rider does not escalate the issue. He doesn't reach out to either the person he's supposed to deliver to or the person he picked up from that such incident.
Why?
If you do so, since most of them know what they are sending, they tend to go into hiding.
Oh, okay.
And the logistics company takes the full blow. So we tend to make sure we keep everything discreet, and he acts like he's going to make a proper delivery of that item with the police officers to pick up such person. Hence, you pick up the recipient or the pickup. The logistics company is removed from the case.
And has there been times where in the court you've discovered this, and then the either the customer or the receiver or the sender was arrested?
Yes, we've had numerous cases where the senders were arrested. We've had cases whereby the senders got a tip and they switched off their phone. So the companies had to face the full issues. We have some riders who are still in various stations in Port Harcourt over this same case, and some bikes at some stations, because the police would not release the logistics company unless you provide who sent this parcel to you.
So if this is the case, in situations where you have this agreement signed and then this thing happens and then there are contacts or agreements, that's what you signed, especially let's say for instance it's a cake. You cannot now want to dip your hands into the cake to know whether they put something inside the cake or not. And similar thing, I think, for the jury, the guy is not a criminal to suspect that, or a policeman that's trained to say, let me check under. So in that particular case, all you have is the agreement signed between the customer and the company. Yeah. So how do you then convince the police in that situation that this is what it is?
That's how bad it is, because they won't listen. They just have to put somebody has to take the fall for movement of.
But they know that this is who you are going to deliver this, and they have the contacts and address and all of the person. Shouldn't it be their duty to go after that person? And perhaps this person, the company's rider, is granted bail pending. If we have questions, we invite you to come back and answer questions rather than keep the person there.
They definitely won't do it like that. I'll tell you, it's so bad that if the rider is apprehended with the bike and the owner of the bike, possibly logistics owner, the CEO of the company comes, she'll be apprehended too. If her brother comes, he'll be apprehended too. If 5 persons come in line with that case, they will arrest all of them. That's how very bad it is. Even when they know this does not belong to the logistics company, this is supposed to be a pick-up and a drop-off. So what we've told our owners in events of such cases, do not go to the station. The association's lawyer would go first.
So if you are aware of this has been happening, how come in the time when the former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, had these complaints and needed to do profiling and all of the rest, logistic companies were largely not very happy with it?
We were not happy with it because of some of the statements that were made by the previous government. Now, some of the statements they made were we were not properly screened, we were not properly profiled, that they did not have any data on the logistics bikes and companies in Port Harcourt, which was not entirely true, because prior before the ban, we had our details of both the riders and the company, the owners, with the State Ministry of Transportation. So the same thing the state government did was something we've been doing over time. Just that maybe they added an extra layer of security. The Department of State Security was involved in the profiling process, of which we still have some bottlenecks in the process. We're still having continuous meetings and agreements with the current commissioner.
Even now?
Even till date.
What new steps are being introduced?
Now, or
suggestions being made?
Some of the bottlenecks we had is the state government, through the profiling process, tend to tie a dispatcher to a particular bike and a company. And dispatchers are staffs of a company. There's a possibility of employing a staff today and the next day he's willing to leave the company. Now, but the process of this dispatching as being granted a permit might take close to 9 months. So we told them
A permit to operate. Okay.
So we clearly told the government that you can't expect us to always wait for 9 months before we can switch a staff, of which it is possible for a staff to come to work today and the next day he doesn't want to come. So
okay, so the point is, if you get a new staff, that's the period it takes before that staff can begin to work.
Yes.
So what happens to your business in 9 months while you're waiting?
You have to wait.
Did they explain why it would take 9 months to profile a person before they grant them permits to?
It's the documentation process. You have to submit a letter to the government house, to the governor, to the chief of staff. He forwards.
It's still. Why would it take 9 months for like? It's a document that certain people who man certain offices are to receive, sign, look at, and approve and pass on. Why would it take 9 months to do that?
I sincerely don't know.
And you guys are not worried that could affect business in the state?
That's why I said we've been having the current Commissioner of Transport, Mr. Honorable Jacobson Ibina. He has been giving us listening ears, trying to fix up meeting between us, the Department of State Security, and the state government to see how we could make this thing look faster and make some of these things move faster.
We're going to go, Mr. Chijuka, we'll go for a break, a short commercial. When we return, two things. You're going to tell us more challenges that logistic companies are facing, and do you profile your workers before you employ them? We'll find out all of these, and then we take some of the calls and messages. Stay tuned. Well, my guest is the chairman, if you would say president, of the Port Harcourt Logistics Owners Association, Authur Chijuka. Thank you for staying with us. Remember, if you have contributions to make, questions to ask, well, now would be a perfect time to do that using the WhatsApp number 0809 0306416. For a lot of people at the time, some people shared the opinion that, well, some of these logistics companies unknowingly sometimes aid crime. And that has become a problem. You've heard from my guest situations where, well, riders have been arrested. Sometimes they don't know. There are other people that think sometimes the riders know and do this as a side hustle to make extra money. And that's where we're going to have my guest tell us about steps the companies take to ensure that they employ the right people with the right characters. In your case, I'd need you to tell me how you think we can tackle that problem if you believe that logistic companies sometimes get involved in this knowingly or unknowingly. How do we tackle it? What solutions are there for us to handle this? So you can call 0817 923 0007. You can also call 0817 923 0003. I'll get back to Mr. Chijuka here with me in the studio. You were telling us about how 9 months is what it takes before you get the permit to operate. We've also seen some challenges you face with regards to how the police, hold riders and owners of logistics companies, even when there's a document showing the information of whoever ordered what they ordered and where it was going to, and those people should be arrested. But it didn't look like, because those people have absconded for whatever reason, the logistic companies are now the ones that are kept in detention. Now you're saying, like, right now there are still riders in police detention now that did not or are not involved in any crime. It now brings us to ask, how do you verify who works for you as a rider? Is there some method profiling that you do independently as a company?
Yeah, we definitely, before a rider is employed, apart from checking his riding skills, we tend to do a background check on him. Try to see if we can use some.
How?
We use the Nigerian police to do some little investigation, send the rider's name to the closest station to him for screening and the rest of it. So that's aside what the Department of State Security does. Because every rider in Port Harcourt indirectly has been screened by the Department of State Security. Not everyone, but I say, most riders in Port Harcourt has been screened by the Department of State Security. So we still try to do within our own some little background check his history. Go around his vicinity, ask some questions to know if he has.
So if I come to you and say I want to be a rider, who do I'll first be screened by the government, the DSS, before you screen me as a company? How does it work? Or you submit my name?
I have to submit your name on a letter to the state government. But before I would submit your name, I definitely have to do my own background checks.
Okay.
To be very certain that, this is somebody, first of all, you want to work. And secondly, you can drive. Then thirdly, you're not a criminal. Aside the drug aspect of it, most of our riders move with some little finances belonging to e-commerce, some vendors, and the rest of it. So it's a threat to us if you're supposed to take money somewhere and then you abscond with the money. It's a very serious challenge, and most times we move valuable items. So if your rider is of questionable, it's difficult because you take the fall. You make payments for things that you definitely have no idea about.
They also say, some of them transport weapons and small arms and the rest of them. Have you ever had such an experience, or any other rider being in that situation where you apprehend a rider who was going to deliver some light weapons illegally?
I've heard, but as a president, I've not been called for such first case. But generally, we have a blowing policy within ourselves, whereby if you know a company who indulges in such activities, you just let any of the executives of the association know. So we know how to follow up immediately. So when
you take to the police confirms or says, okay, this person is fit, no records, this person is, from what we've seen, they are good to go. And then eventually they went to go and deliver cake. And then in the cake, unfortunately, there's something inside. And then this person is apprehended on the road. And then the police takes the person. How do you relate the fact that the police vetted this person to be fit. And now this person is delivering something that clearly he would not know what is inside. But then he's still held in detention for it for months.
How should I say? Those are issues of the security system of the country, and it's something we keep trying.
Is it that the police refuse to grant bail to these persons and say, we're granting you bail, but if we need you for questioning, you have to report yourself to this police station because we're still investigating this case?
So someone has to be in the station. Someone has to be arrested. That's what they'll tell you first of all.
Of course, somebody would definitely be arrested at first, but the question now is, you see the person on the road, it's the officer's job to arrest that person because you are the one I'm seeing now. I don't, so let's go to the station first. And then we go to the station, and then the company comes and everybody, and then all the documents, and you see, and the police have seen that, okay, this guy is just working for these people. Even the police officer would not go to deliver a cake, and when he gets there, we say, open your cake, scatter the cake, let's see what is inside first. So some things you would expect common sense to say, this is it. If the company has come, and another thing many will say, the fact that we're trying to decongest our cells, because if you go to some of the police stations, even the cells are congested. I'm not talking about the prisons now. So it would not make sense to hold people unnecessarily. If, I'm just saying, has there been situations where you show all these facts the police have seen, and then what you're pleading for, okay, let's grant us bail. Let's get bail for this person. If you need us for questioning, we are here. You know where we are. We are here. We'll come for questioning on this matter. Has there been such, and then the police did not accept or refused to follow that path?
Most times on the long run, they tend to accept bail, but a ridiculous amount.
You go talk. Are you scared to say amount? If you paid for the bill, if what you paid for, you said they asked us to pay. If that's what happened.
There are sometimes you have to bail the rider separate, wait for some time, then you go back to bail the bike.
Oh, yeah. So the bail is technically not free.
It's definitely not free.
All right.
And if you have a chain of persons in the station, you bail each and every one of them
separately. Different amount of monies. Or the same amount of money. Or based on negotiating power.
It depends.
Oh, okay. Let's open the phone lines first. We'll come back to some more challenges facing you. But you heard the guest and the operations and how they intend to see that they do the best that they can to nip this rising trend in the bud, because a lot of complaints have come in. Police have apprehended plenty riders. The former administration made this known that people transport light weapons using these logistic company riders, hard drugs, and the rest of them. It's now becoming a thing. So what is the role of the companies in trying to stop this? How is the police also handling this? 0817-923-0007 and 0817-923-0003. We'll start with Fortune. Fortune is calling from Ogboro this morning. Fortune, good morning to you. Welcome.
Thank you, Femi. Good to hook up to you, and good morning to the President Riders Association in Port Harcourt.
Good morning. Good morning.
I also do logistics, though not delivery, do bold and the rest of it. And what our brother is talking about here is something that is so rampant in Port Harcourt. I can tell you for free that our government are not ready to do the right thing. When they stop dispatch riders in the name of profiling this and that, all this and that story, and they still end up coming with what I'll say that is just a joke. They don't profile anything. Also think of it, both the drivers are clamoring, are asking that all the e-hailing drivers should profile riders the way drivers are being profiled. That has not been done. And this is a nice ground, something that Nigerian security should step in for them to be able to cope in security. Do you know that most riders, they use different lines to register on the platform and order ride and go and commit any crime that they want to? I'm not just talking of killing drivers and collecting cars. Now, sometimes they use it to order rides for delivery. And when the driver gets it, they'll hand you something and say, this is what they are going to deliver. If you want to act into it, if they say that there's some deep knowledge in it, you ask series of questions, the next thing they'll cancel the ride, and that is it. So these part riders, when they say they profile, what are the details at the college? Now the line that they use in communication, how authentic is the registration of that line? Certainly, up till today, people are still using lines that are not registered. And when you call, you see different names, dog's name, pet's name, this and that. So how do you tell me that line has been registered? It's difficult.
All right, Fortune, thank you. Let's go to Chris in Rumobiakani now. Chris, good morning.
Yeah, Andrew, good morning.
Yes, go ahead, Chris.
Okay, for me, I want to say these rider company, they are not sincere. That is why when the former governor saw this thing, he was doing everything to ensure that all these things they are doing. But they themselves were politicizing the whole thing. It is now clear that what the governor was trying to was to safeguard us from all these and that is why today I'm telling you this crime will come back, because since the governor has left the office, I just pity the state, because that is something have a rocket person to take affairs of some of these things. I don't like the former governor for this kind of a thing, because he realized that the right thing must be done. But as I'm telling you now, this will go back to their normal behavior. They know what they are doing. If few of them are sincere, that is the truth of the matter.
All right, Muriel in Okrika, good morning to you.
Oh yeah, Ifeanyi, good morning.
Good morning, Muriel.
Good to be back.
Welcome.
Back for a few days. Look, Ifeanyi, I laughed when your guest was just mentioning she. And I understand, because mostly it's the ladies that are enjoying this cruise, delivering food and all the rest. But I think I want to suggest, if there is any way this your guest as the president, they can look for a way to get identification cards, identity numbers for their registered riders, so that people, the public, will know when you're calling a rider, when you stop a rider. Sometimes you can just stop them on the road, and you know that this person is a registered member. You have their cards, and you have their number, you have their names, and there is a way maybe you can link it immediately to the office. If this person is genuine, trust me, those identity cards can be compromised. If there's a way you can just link it to their office for them to confirm that yes, this is their registered member, you should tell us. And I want to also ask Femi, if there is any way, there are some items, they are here to have offices, maybe few offices in some parts of the state. If there is a way we can, so that some sensitive items they deliver can be sent to the office. Items that they know that they cannot really sell, just like the cake. They cannot confirm if some things are hidden inside. Dispatchers, people that want to dispatch and send those items, should send it to the office. Then the office should screen it, use all those their bomb disguise. They can maybe have one in some of the offices to detect that there is nothing.
But Muriel, have you put into consideration how long all of this is something somebody wants to eat, and you are going through all this process? Have you considered how long it's going to take?
For the cake and some things that they know that they cannot search, you cannot open it to search. And trust me, there are some riders, there are some packages that some people have packaged before they even call the riders. They package it, so they should sensitize people that please, before you package anything, make sure you inform, you call the rider, because you can just package a gift and you stop the rider on the road. Please stop, and then you send it. But especially the cake, the rider should reject it. Say, please, there are some items that you don't carry on your own without bringing it to the office. If you're caught by the police as a rider, you will bear the brunt, because we ordered you people not to deliver sensitive items like cake and the rider. You cannot really verify if there are maybe harmful or some sensitive objects in them.
Thank you, Muriel. Let's go to Ida now in Nkoro. Ida, good morning.
Yeah, Andre, I greet you especially.
I greet you too.
And they say me, I believe those riders is not something I'll come and talk on air. This, the guys should advise them. And when they try, and they say, careful. Mostly they collect from people to go and deliver. It's very, very bad. I've seen, but it's not something I'll come and talk on air. Before they want to deliver this particular song, the office should know. They should bring guys, the office should know what the other thing they want to go and deliver. That's the office not a problem. They take things from people anyhow. I cannot say it on air. You should advise them. And when they drive, it's not good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ida. On Facebook, Adi Oji says, the fact is, some of these logistic companies are secretly aiding crime against the will of government. Chile Edwin says, it's normal that people will always hide under the guise to commit crime, but the duty of the security agents is to fish out the criminals and not always closing down businesses, because 1 or 2 persons in the business are the ones that committed the crime. We have quite a number of the messages coming in. Okay, I think we had that one. Let's see what we have on WhatsApp quickly before I get on to my guest and get his response. Good morning. Ifemi, I want to believe that logistic companies have a record of who sent a package and to whom that package will be delivered. So why didn't the same police conduct a profiling on these riders, take these records and contacts and go and fish out the sources that the package of the illegal substances and apprehend them instead of holding riders? Same question we're asking, but then I'm not a police officer, so I don't know all the details of how they do their work. I'm pretty sure they would have something to tell us as to why riders and logistic companies and whoever will be continually detained when they have all of these things. As an ordinary person with common sense, I would say I have all of the details. The best I could do is, okay, you can go on bail, but we can call you back when we need you. The problem would not be when you abscond. Then we know that, okay, when we catch you is over. But then it's what it is. Packages like cakes, eatable substance should be packaged right in front of the riders.
Yes.
You can package cake right in front of the rider, but you cannot make the cake in front of the rider. I don't know if you get the point. If you are making the cake, I must have made the cake and hid whatever I wanted to hide inside the cake. And I wait for you to come and I wrap it in your presence. Besides, you can't wrap cake with opaque materials. They're usually transparent. So you look, you see it's a cake. But you can't see inside the cake. Like you can't take knife and then cut the cake and begin to know whether, or choke the cake and see whether they hid gun inside or they hid drugs inside. Or you can't see, you can't know. You can't tell. Eli from Alu, good morning.
Good morning, Morga.
You're welcome.
Okay, sir.
Hello, Eli.
I just listened to... Yes, I'm with you, sir.
Go ahead.
Okay, I was just listening to you people's conversation in the radio station. What happened is... are you with me?
Eli, we are with you.
Almost 2 years ago, the governor called us on an update so as they can be able to locate any rider who is doing illegal jobs, and which is we did that, which is under the DSS for profiling. Before that, then transfer it to Minister of Transport for which to be updated before starting or riding in the Port Harcourt road. So I think if the police or anybody has to hold any rider that they say this one is doing illegal or carrying some illegal jobs, I think it's the duty of the police to go back to the ministry to check the person data and to know who or the company they are operating with.
All right, Eli, thank you. Already out of time. As we wrap up, just tell us, so what are the other challenges and how do solutions you would suggest for logistic companies?
Okay.
In few seconds.
All right, I would just reply to one of the callers, Miriam. That every rider has something they call a reflective jacket, and they have what we call a rider's card. Now, the reflective jacket shows the details of the company at the State Ministry of Transport database, and the rider's card has a rider's details. So if you want to order for an item or you have a rider on the road that is misbehaving or something, if you just copy down the vest number behind, we can trace the rider wherever he is in Port Harcourt.
Okay.
Then some other challenges we face in this business, and that's something the federal government has to do, is talk about fuel. fall is a very serious challenge for us right now because
time will not allow us. It's a challenge for everybody, Chijuka. Thank you very much.
You're always on your phone. You don't even have time.